old will you live?
I want to live to at least 80. So 80 I'd be happy with.
I'll go the day after she goes.
No, I think like maybe late 80s.
That's pretty young.
Early 90s.
That's pretty young.
No, older 60s.
I hope over 95 or over 92.
My big goal is to reach 100.
I hope I live to the late 90s. I mean, that's really winning the lottery of life.
我活到98 90
Oh, probably, hopefully, no later than 85.
And the chances of living past that?
My age, my race in this country, with my resources, like, probably pretty high.
With like modern medicine, we're looking at probably 100.
I'm not letting myself get old.
Well, I'm 86 and I don't feel old. I know I am, I know I am, I know I am.
What do you think will happen when you die?
Hopefully I'll be uploaded to a computer by that point, but...
This is very informative.
I'm a devout atheist nihilist, and I think the fact that there is nothing after death makes the decisions you make on life more important, because this is your one shot.
I do think it's possible to have a good death.
I don't know why I'm scared of getting old.
I'm scared of pain and loneliness.
If you die first, I'll die of a broken heart.
If you die first, I'll kill you.
What does your ageing journey look like? Welcome to the best 30 years, helping to make your ageing journey the very best it can be. As Mae West once said, you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. And that's exactly what we're here to do, help you do the ageing journey just right. In previous episodes of The Best 30 Years, we've covered the gamut of the ageing journey, from health to wealth to diet. So in this final episode, we're going to talk about the elephants in the room, loss of independence and mortality.
This happened to me very, very quickly.
I'd like to keep going, but I know, in the last 12 months I've declined a lot in ability to do things, my mobility particularly.
Ageing demands we confront harsh truths.
Having to face illness and incapacity as we age, and of course, confronting mortality. There are many positive realities as well, but we can't avoid the negative ones.
Some people deny their fading health and well-being because they're scared of aged care. But an aged care facility is there to care for you when you can no longer care for yourself.
Many of us don't plan for this stage of life at all. Strangely, it's often the most able among us who ignore it because they think they can. For others, planning has long been a crucial part of life because it must be.
When you have a disability like me, you have to learn how to plan things as much as you can, just because everything always takes more time than it does for those able-bodied, yippee-yelping people, those startled gazelles dancing around the streets. And so it's important always to keep in mind preparation.
And preparation as we age can include a conversation about residential aged care.
I think the biggest obstacle when it comes to aged care is actually having the conversation about the need for care. So a lot of the time people avoid that conversation because they think it's a slippery slope to a nursing home. In reality, the sooner you have that conversation, the more choices that are going to be available to you and the more options that you'll have, because you'll have time to explore those options rather than taking what's available perhaps in a crisis situation down the track.
Having a loved one move into an aged care home is a difficult time. It's a time where emotions are heightened within a family. And certainly the question is, how are we as a family going to navigate through that time? Families who have planned for this time, planned for this stage with the appropriate documentation will navigate through this stage of life with relative ease and with less stress. But if we haven't planned for it with the right documentation in place, then these emotions can sometimes take over and family conflict can occur.
Considering residential aged care is an understandably confronting time for all. So it's important that we talk about it more and share our stories. Like this one. Let's call this Yasmin's story.
Yasmin says she would like to look after her parents in her home. but she can't afford not to work. And when she's not working for money, she's caring for her grandchildren. She says it feels like a vice that's increasingly tightened because her mum also has increasing dementia.
There's no denying that this stage can be heartbreaking. It feels like a huge step, but in essence, it's about the safety of your heart, mind, and body. And your loved ones can keep an eye on your care, making sure that all your needs are being met.
It's not just the presence of a room or the presence of food or the ability to exist in a place, is we need to be always keeping and holding to account those institutions to say, how are we continuing to care for their needs that go beyond the physical and go to the emotional, social and community.
Australia is regarded as having one of the best residential aged care services in the world, with over 200,000 residents across 3,000 aged care homes. This requires a massive 260,000 staff to provide this care every day and night. They provide the respectful, warm touch that is real care, and often the only real companionship that residents receive in these days where families are spread across the world.
Aged care residents have lived a full and varied life, and now their aged care home is their home. It requires a special empathy to work in residential aged care because the residents are on a journey which staff become part of. Many residents are very frail. In fact, more than 50% have dementia, requiring trust, respect, and that extra time to listen and support. This is done every day, on every shift.
Think of it this way. Aged care staff are the residents' companions with them every day over their final few years, ultimately to their death. It is very personal.
For more information regarding the specialists, accommodation or subjects featured in this episode, please go to thebest30years.com.au.